And by that, I mean, we've never had an asset ever that has an absolutely finite supply. It's just not possible in the physical world. It is possible if you create that system in the digital world. And Bitcoin is it. And of course, we have a bunch of copies of that system, but you can create a bunch more copies, and each incremental copy of the original instance of digital scarcity is itself not scarce. So the only thing that is scarce here is Bitcoin, and it's absolutely scarce. And the entire story of human history is people searching for the best store of value asset to propagate their value today into the future for future use. And what has historically won is assets that have very low supply dilution every year. In terms of monies, that has meant gold, real estate. It's hard to make more real estate, so that's become a savings vehicle for people. They store a lot of value in real estate. And here is this digital perfection of these properties that humans have been seeking forever. And it's tiny still because it's only 16 years old. But if you're thinking about, where can you store value safely for use in the future, and there's only one asset that has zero supply dilution after we get to 21 million Bitcoin, value is going to osmotically flow towards that optimum solution of value transmission through time. And then the question is, how much value is looking for a store of value asset? There's $900 trillion of value out there. Saylor has kind of put a stake in the ground and said half of that is just looking for a store of value. $450 trillion is your total addressable market, what's possible for the store of value category. And then here's one asset that has a finite supply ever in human history, and it's going to keep siphoning away store of value capital from other asset buckets to this, as Trace Mayer used to say, infinitely expandable blueberry. So there's a tiny little blueberry in the global asset landscape, but you can hook up a water main to it and it can expand in terms of its total value. And we're in the early stages of that. So, it sounds crazy that we're talking about $13 million per Bitcoin in 20 years, but that amounts to 7% of the world's assets in Saylor's version of how things play out. So 7% of the world's assets in 20 years, basically the second wave of the internet revolution. We've digitized information with the internet, and now we're digitizing value with Bitcoin. And how much value is out there? Half the world's value. And Bitcoin in the next 20 years is, Saylor expects, going to take 7% of that 100%. So, a chunk of the 50. And that'll be where Bitcoin is 20 years from now. And it won't be done at that point either. We won't have reached the full potential of what Bitcoin can become, because it can take the majority of that 450 trillion, the majority of that half of the world's assets that's just looking for the best store of value out there. So, that's a little context of how I see it. And I'm pretty sure that's how Saylor sees it as well when he's thinking about what Bitcoin is and what it's on track to become.
Yeah. I'm curious, have you been paying much attention to Howard Lutnick and Elon and everything that they're doing from a government standpoint? I just recently listened to an interview that they were interviewing Howard Lutnick, and he basically framed his role as basically watching the top line or improving the top line, where Elon is really trying to manage all the expenses to really balance the budget.